The city and borough of Juneau is the capital city of Alaska. It is a unified municipality located on the Gastineau Channel in the Alaskan panhandle, and it is the second largest city in the United States by area. Juneau has been the capital of Alaska since 1906, when the government of what was then the District of Alaska was moved from Sitka as dictated by the U.S. Congress in 1900. The municipality unified on July 1, 1970, when the city of Juneau merged with the city of Douglas and the surrounding Greater Juneau Borough to form the current municipality, which is larger by area than both Rhode Island and Delaware. Downtown Juneau, 58.3019 degrees north, 134.4197 degrees west, 58.30194 minus 134.4197 is nestled at the base of Mount Juneau and across the channel from Douglas Island. As of the 2010 census, the city and borough had a population of 31,275. In 2014, the population estimate from the United States Census Bureau was 32,406, making it the second most populous city in Alaska after Anchorage. Fairbanks, however, is the second most populous metropolitan area in the state, with roughly 100,000 residents. Juneau's daily population can increase by roughly 6,000 people from visiting cruise ships between the months of May and September. The city is named after gold prospector Joe Juneau, though the place was for a time called Rockwell and then Harrisburg. The Tlingit name of the town is Dzantike-Heakuti, and Orkney Bay just north of Juneau proper is called Akw in Tlingit. The Taku River, just south of Juneau, was named after the cold Taakh wind, which occasionally blows down from the mountains. Juneau is rather unusual among U.S. capitals in that there are no roads connecting the city to the rest of Alaska or to the rest of North America. The absence of a road network is due to the extremely rugged terrain surrounding the city. This in turn makes Juneau a de facto island city in terms of transportation, since all goods coming in and out must go by plane or boat. In spite of the city being located on the Alaskan mainland, downtown Juneau sits at sea level, with tides averaging 16 feet below steep mountains about 3,500 feet to 4,000 feet high. Atop these mountains is the Juneau Ice Field, a large ice mass from which about 30 glaciers flow. Two of these, the Mendenhall Glacier and the Lemon Creek Glacier, are visible from the local road system. The Mendenhall Glacier has been gradually retreating. Its front face is declining both in width and height. The Alaska State Capitol in downtown Juneau was originally built as the Federal and Territorial Building in 1931. Prior to statehood, it housed federal government offices, the federal courthouse and a post office. It also housed the territorial legislature and many other territorial offices, including that of the governor. Today, Juneau remains the home of the state legislature and the offices of the governor and lieutenant governor. Some other executive branch offices have moved elsewhere in the state. Recent discussion has been focused between relocating the seat of state government outside of Juneau and building a new Capitol building in Juneau. Neither position has advanced very far. The Alaska Committee, a local community advocacy group, has led efforts to keep the capital in Juneau. History. Mining years. Long before European settlement in the Americas, the Gastineau Channel was a favorite fishing ground for local Tlingit Indians, known then as the Orkney and Taku tribes, who had inhabited the surrounding area for thousands of years. The native cultures are rich with artistic traditions including carving, weaving, orating, singing and dancing, and Juneau has become a major social center for the Tlingit, Haida and Tsimshian of southeast Alaska. The first European to see the Juneau area was Joseph Whidbey, master of the discovery during George Vancouver's 1791–95 expedition, who explored the region in July–August 1794. Early in August he saw the length of Gastineau Channel from the south, noting a small island in mid-channel. He later saw the length of the channel again, this time from the west. He said it was unnavigable, being filled with ice. In 1880, Sitka mining engineer George Pills offered a reward to any local chief who could lead him to gold-bearing ore. Chief Cowie arrived with some ore and several prospectors were sent to investigate. On the first trip to Gold Creek, they found deposits of little interest. However, at Chief Cowie's urging, Pills sent Joe Juneau and Richard Harris back to the Gastineau Channel, directing them to Snowslide Gulch where they found nuggets as large as peas and beans. In Harris's words, on October 18, 1880, the two men marked a 160-acre townsite where soon a mining camp appeared. Within a year, the camp became a small town, the first to be founded after Alaska's purchase by the United States. In the autumn of 1881, the village had a population of over 100 and was known as Rockwell and then Harrisburg. On the 14th of December, 1881, Juneau was decided as the name in a miners' meeting in which 72 were present. During this time period, prospector and placer miner John Lemond operated in what is today the Lemon Creek area, the neighborhood that grew around where he prospected, and several other landmarks that have been named after John Lemon. Other mining operations in the Juneau mining district prior to World War II included the Treadwell Mine, the Alaska.Juneau Mine and Alaska.Gastineau Mine. The town was originally called Harrisburg, after Richard Harris. Some time later, its name was changed to Rockwell after Lt. Tom Charles Rockwell. In 1881, the miners met and renamed the town Juneau after Joe Juneau. In 1906, after the diminution of the whaling and fur trade, Sitka, the original capital of Alaska, declined in importance and the seat of government was moved to Juneau. Juneau was the largest city in Alaska during the interwar years, passing Fairbanks in the 1920 census and being displaced by Anchorage in 1950. 20th century. In 1911, the United States Congress authorized funds for the building of a Capitol building for the Alaska Territory. Because of World War I, construction was delayed, and there were difficulties purchasing the necessary land. Local citizens of Juneau donated some of the required funds, and construction began on September 8, 1929. Construction of the Capitol took less than 2 years, and a building was dedicated as the Federal and Territorial Building on February 14, 1931. The design of the building was drawn up by Treasury Department architects in the Art Deco architectural style. The building was originally used by the federal government to house the federal courthouse and post office. Since Alaska gained statehood in 1959, the building has been used by the state government. The Alaska Governor's Mansion was commissioned under the Public Building Act in 1910. The mansion was designed by James Knox Taylor in the federal style. Construction took 2 years and was completed in 1912. The territorial governor at the time was the first governor to inhabit the mansion, and he held the first open house to the citizens on January 1, 1913. The area of the mansion is 14,400 square feet. This is where the governor resides when he or she is in Juneau for official business. The mansion contains 10 bathrooms, 6 bedrooms, and 8 fireplaces. In June 1923, President Warren G. Harding became the first president to visit Alaska. Harding visited the governor's mansion while Governor Scott Bone, who was appointed by Harding, was in office. Harding spoke from the porch of the governor's mansion explaining his policies and meeting the people. Robert Atwood, then publisher of the Anchorage Times and an Anchorage booster, was an early leader in capital move efforts which many in Juneau and Fairbanks resisted. One provision required the new capital to be at least 30 miles from Anchorage and Fairbanks, to prevent either city from having undue influence. In the end, Juneau remained the capital. In the 1970s, voters passed a plan to move the capital to Willow, a town 70 miles north of Anchorage, but pro-Juneau people there and in Fairbanks got voters to also approve a measure requiring voter approval of all bondable construction costs before building could begin. Alaskans later voted against spending the estimated $900 million. A 1984 ultimate capital move vote also failed, as did a 1996 vote. Alaskans thus several times voted on moving the capital, but Juneau remains the capital. Once Alaska was granted statehood in 1959, Juneau grew with the growth of state government. Growth accelerated remarkably after the construction of the Alaska Pipeline in 1977. The state budget being flush with oil revenues, Juneau expanded for a time due to growth in state government jobs, but that growth slowed considerably in the 1980s. The state demographer expects the borough to grow very slowly over the next 20 years. Cruise ship tourism rocketed upward from approximately 230,000 passengers in 1990 to nearly 1 million in 2006 as cruise lines built more and larger ships, even mega ships, sailing to Juneau 7 days a week instead of 6, over a longer season, but this primarily summer industry provides few year-round jobs. In 2010, the city was recognized as part of the Playful City USA initiative by Kaboom, created to honor cities that ensure that their children have great places to play. Juneau is larger in area than the state of Delaware and was, for many years, the country's largest city by area. Juneau continues to be the only U.S. state capital located on an international border. It is bordered on the east by Canada. It is the U.S. state capital whose namesake was most recently alive. Joe Juneau died in 1899, a year after Otto von Bismarck. The city was temporarily renamed Uno after the card game on April 1, 2016. The change was part of a promotion with Mattel to draw attention to new wild cards in-game. Mattel also donated $15,000 to the Juneau Community Foundation in honor of late Mayor Greg Fisk. Geography. According to the United States Census Bureau, the borough has a total area of 3,255 square miles, making it the third largest municipality in the United States by area. 2,716.7 square miles of it is land and 538.3 square miles of it is water. Central Juneau is located at 58.30194 degrees north, 134.41972 degrees west, 58.30194 minus 134.41972. The city and borough of Juneau includes Douglas Island, a tidal island located to the west of mainland Juneau. Douglas Island can be reached via the Douglas Bridge. As is the case throughout southeast Alaska, the Juneau area is susceptible to damage caused by natural disasters. In 2014, an earthquake caused widespread outages to telecommunications in the area due to damage to a fiber optic cable serving the area. In April 2008, a series of massive avalanches outside Juneau heavily damaged the electrical lines providing Juneau with power, knocking the hydroelectric system offline and forcing the utility to switch to a much more expensive diesel system. Adjacent boroughs and census areas: Haines Borough, Alaska, Northwest, West; Hoonah-Angoon Census Area, Alaska, South-Southwest. Border area: Juneau, Alaska, shares its eastern border with the Canadian province of British Columbia. It is the only U.S. state capital to border another country's Stikine region, British Columbia. Northeast, East. National Protected Areas: Tongass National Forest, Admiralty Island National Monument, Kootznoowoo Wilderness, Tracy Arm Fords Terra Wilderness. Climate: the Juneau area is in a transition zone between a continental climate and an oceanic climate, depending on the isotherm used. The city is milder in winter than its latitude may suggest, due to the influence of the Pacific Ocean. Winters are moist and long, but mild by Alaskan standards. The average low temperature is 23 degrees Fahrenheit in January, and highs are frequently above freezing. Spring, summer, and fall are cool to mild, with highs peaking in July at 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Snowfall averages 87.4 inches and occurs chiefly from November to March. Precipitation falls on an average 230 days per year, averaging 62.27 inches at the airport, but ranging from 55 to 92 inches, depending on location. The spring months are the driest, while September and October are the wettest. The coldest temperature ever recorded in Juneau was -22 degrees Fahrenheit on February 2, 1968 and January 12, 1972. The hottest temperature was 90 degrees Fahrenheit on July 7, 1975. Records have been officially kept at downtown Juneau from January 1890 to June 1943, and at Juneau International Airport since July 1943. The normals and record temperatures for the downtown station are provided below. Demographics: as of the 2010 census, there were 31,275 people, 12,187 households, and 7,742 families residing in the city borough. The population density was 11.3 per square mile. There were 13,055 housing units at an average density of 4.0 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city borough was 69.4% white, 0.9% African American, 11.8% Native American, 6.1% Asian, 0.7% Pacific Islander, and 1.2% from other races, and 9.5% from two or more races. 5.1% of the population were Hispanic or Latino of any race, 2.6% reported speaking Tagalog at home, and 2.4% reported speaking Spanish. There were 11,543 households, out of which 36.7% had children under the age of 18 living with them. 51.2% were married couples living together. 10.5% had a female householder with no husband present, and 33.8% were non-families. 24.4% of all households were made up of individuals, and 4.3% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.60 and the average family size was 3.10. The age distribution of Juneau was as follows: 27.4% of the population was under the age of 18, 8.1% were from 18 to 24, 32.8% from 25 to 44, 25.7% from 45 to 64, and 6.1% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 35 years. For every 100 females, there were 101.5 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 100.2 males. The median income for a household in the city/borough was $62,034, and the median income for a family was $70,284. Males had a median income of $46,744 versus $33,168 for females. The per capita income for the city/borough was $26,719. 6.0% of the population and 3.7% of families were below the poverty line, including 6.7% of those under the age of 18 and 3.9% of those 65 and older. Economy. As the capital of Alaska, the primary employer in Juneau, by a large margin, is government. This includes the federal government, state government, municipal government, as well as the University of Alaska's Southeast. State government offices and their indirect economic impact compose approximately 1/4 of Juneau's economy. Another large contributor to the local economy, at least on a part-time basis, is the tourism industry. In 2005, the cruise ship industry was estimated to bring nearly 1 million visitors to Juneau for up to 11 hours at a time, between the months of May and September. While cruise ships do provide an economic boost to segments of the economy, not all locals are appreciative. The Juneau Public Library, built atop a parking garage along South Franklin Street near the Red Dog Saloon, was designed to take advantage of the view of and across Gastineau Channel. This view is often blocked by docking cruise ships, which tower over the 5-story structure. Bill Ray, who lived in Juneau from 1938 to 2000 and represented the community in the Alaska legislature from 1965 to 1987, was rather blunt in expressing his disdain when he paid a return visit in 2003. Juneau doesn't go forward. They've prostituted themselves to tourism. It looks like a poor man's Lahaina. The fishing industry is still a major part of the Juneau economy, while not the dominant player back in the days of the halibut schooner fleet. Juneau was recently the 49th most lucrative U.S. fisheries port by volume and 45th by value, taking in 15 million pounds of fish and shellfish valued at $21.5 million in 2004 according to the National Marine Fisheries Service. While the Port of Juneau does comparatively little seafood processing compared to other towns of this size in Alaska, there are hundreds of commercial fishing boats who sell the fish to plants in nearby Sitka, Hoonah, Petersburg and Ketchikan. The largest fleets operating from Juneau are the gill net and troll salmon fleets. Juneau is also the home to many of the commercial fishing associations in Alaska, as much of the activities of these groups involve lobbying the legislature. These associations include the Alaska Trollers Association, United Fishermen of Alaska, United Southeast Alaska Gill Netters Association and the Southeast Alaska Signers Association. Real estate agencies, federally funded highway construction, and mining are apparently still viable non-government local industries. Juneau's only power utility is Alaska.It Light and Amp Power. Most of the electricity in the borough is generated at the Snettisham hydroelectric facility in the southern end of the borough, accessible only by boat or plane. In April 2008, an avalanche destroyed 3 transmission towers, forcing AL and AMP-P to generate almost all of the borough's electricity with diesel-powered generators. Wings of Alaska, an airline, has its headquarters in Juneau. As of Census 2010, there were 1,107 businesses with operations in Juneau Borough, and thus, with a population of 31,275, a per capita of roughly 28 people per business. Also headquartered in Juneau is the Marine Exchange of Alaska, a non-profit organization which operates an extensive vessel tracking network and ensures safe maritime operations for the entire state. Culture. Juneau hosts the annual Alaska Folk Festival, Juneau Jazz and Amp Classics Music Festival, and Celebration, a biennial Alaska Native Cultural Festival. The city is home to Perseverance Theater, Alaska's largest professional theater, and the non-profit Theater in the Rough. The Juneau Symphony performs regularly. The Juneau Lyric Opera and Opera-to-Go are the 2 local opera companies. The Jump Society hosts screenings of locally made short films 2 times a year. Downtown Juneau has many art galleries that participate in the monthly First Friday Art Walk, an annual gallery walk held in the first week of December. The Juneau Arts and Amp Humanities Council coordinates events and operates the Juneau Arts and Amp Culture Center, which features a community center, gallery and lobby shop. The University of Alaska's Southeast Campus offers lectures, concerts, and theater performances. Sealaska Heritage, the non-profit affiliate of the Sealaska Corporation, operates the Walter Sobleff Building, which is decorated by carvings and hosts ongoing cultural exhibits. Notable artists from Juneau include painter I.E. Munoz, printmaker Dale Ermond, violinists Linda Rosenthal and Paul Rosenthal, Alaska native carver and painter James Shoppert, playwright and filmmaker Gab Cody, theater director Molly Smith, filmmaker Chuck D. Dean and Ishmael Hope, who wrote Never Alone. Government. The City and Borough of Juneau operates under a council-manager form of government. The mayor is the titular head of the city, is the presiding officer of the Juneau Assembly, and is one of 3 members of that body elected area-wide. The remaining 6 members are elected by district. 2 districts have been defined by the Assembly. As of its last redistricting in 2003, the districts nearly match those of the 31st and 32nd election districts recognized by the state. The main difference is that the 32nd district includes communities outside of the CBJ at Gustavus, Kuprianov, Petersburg, Skagway and Tenakee Springs. The Juneau Airport Precinct is in the 31st District, which is otherwise identical to the 2nd Assembly District. Since Juneau was split into 2 districts by the state during redistricting in the early 1990s, the districts comprising downtown Juneau, Douglas Island and surrounding areas have exclusively elected Democrats to the Alaska House of Representatives, while the districts comprising Mendenhall Valley and surrounding areas have mostly elected Republicans. The 31st District is currently represented in the House by Republican Kathy Munoz, who has been in office since 2009. The 32nd District is currently represented by Democrat Sam Keto III, who has been in office since the resignation of Beth Kurtula in 2014. Combined, these 2 election districts form Alaska Senate District P. That seat is held by Democrat Dennis Egan, a former Juneau mayor who has been in office since 2009. The last Republican to represent Juneau in the Senate was Elton Engstrom, Jr., the father of Cathy Munoz, who left office in early 1971 following his unsuccessful re-election campaign in 1970. While more state jobs are currently based in Anchorage than in Juneau, the state government still maintains a substantial presence in Juneau. A number of executive branch departments, as well as the legislature, are based in Juneau. The legislature, in response to repeated pressure from south-central Alaska to move either the capital or the legislature, acquired and renovated several buildings in the vicinity of the Alaska state capitol, which hold committee meeting rooms and administrative offices for the Legislative Affairs Agency. These buildings were named for former legislators Terry Miller and Thomas Stewart. Stewart, a Juneau native and son of early Juneau Mayor B.D. Stewart, represented Juneau in the Senate during the first Alaska state legislature, later serving in Juneau's Alaska Superior Court judgeship and noted as an authority on the latter territory, early statehood eras of Alaska's history. The federal government has a 9-story federal building in Juneau, located in the area known as the Flats, located along Gold Creek near its mouth and a short distance east of the Juneau-Douglas Bridge. The building houses numerous federal agencies, federal courts and Juneau's main post office. The Juneau Federal Building, designed by Lynn A. Forrest, was constructed in 1966, following the provisions of the Alaska Statehood Act, which gave the federal and territorial building to the new state. Education. Primary and secondary schools. Juneau is served by the Juneau School District and includes the following schools. In addition, the following private schools also serve Juneau: Valley Baptist Academy, Faith Community School, Thunder Mountain Learning Center, Juneau Seventh-day Adventist Christian School, Juneau Montessori School. Colleges and universities. Juneau is the home of the following institutes of higher education: University of Alaska Southeast. The University of Alaska Southeast is located within the Orkney Bay community right along the Orkney Lake. The Juneau-Douglas Community College, founded in 1956, and the Southeastern Senior College, established in 1972, were merged in 1980, forming the University of Alaska Juneau. The university was restructured as the University of Alaska Southeast to include the Ketchikan and Sitka campuses. The university offers both degrees in undergraduate and graduate studies. The University of Alaska Southeast is known for its research in regards to the Tongass National Forest and the Juneau Icefield.